Thank you everyone for tuning in. This is Kirk Mastin from Mastin Labs, and today we're going to be talking about newborn editing and getting really nice skin tones and a good look from your newborn photos. Using Mastin Labs, of course. But I'll also be sharing tips that will help anybody with this kind of photography in general. So let's get started. I'm going to give you my checklist on just some basic things that you can do to set yourself up for success, and then I'll edit a bunch of photos from our community. All right, so my newborn checklist. It's very simple because a lot of people have different styles for shooting newborns, but in general, here's what I recommend. For your lens, use a normal to deep depth of field, meaning how much is in focus. When you are shooting up close to a newborn, that depth of field gets to be very narrow because you're shooting something that is small. So I recommend opening up your lens like to f4 or something like that to give yourself a better shot at getting the entire baby's face in focus, because you're going to be closer than you normally would be. But again, you may do this however you want, because there's so many ways to shoot a newborn and get a beautiful photo. The other thing is I recommend either a 35 millimeter, a 50, or an 85 millimeter lens to make sure that the baby doesn't look distorted. So the wider your lens, the more distortion you're going to have. However, if you found a way to shoot newborns with an 18 millimeter lens or a 24 millimeter lens and it works for you, keep doing it. That's awesome. My next kind of tip is to use as high of a shutter speed as possible, because babies move around a lot. So that's important. That may mean going up to a higher ISO. And then the last part here is which preset or style pack to use. I recommend either Portra Original or Fuji Original, because they are the most neutral, less contrasty, most versatile packs for this type of photography. If you want to go like super dark and moody, yeah, you can use Portra Pushed or even Fuji Pushed, the Portra Push Pack or the Fuji Push Pack for your newborn photos. That's a very intentional, like edgy look. May not be appropriate for babies. I don't know. Maybe your baby is like super hip and feeling feelings and vibing and needs that like really edgy fashion look. But for the most people, Portra Original or Fuji Original is the right choice. Okay, here's our quick editing, like our flow. It pretty much is the same for any kind of photo, but I like to always show it to you. You're going to apply the preset or style. You can apply a lens correction if you want to. I recommend it with newborns. If you're trying to get a light and airy look especially, you want to correct the entire lens. And then you're going to adjust exposure, usually increasing it, adjusting white balance and tint. And then if you have a particularly tricky lighting situation, use a tone profile. And then if you want to finish it off with grain and make it look grainy like 35 millimeter film or medium format film, go ahead. Both are awesome. So, all right. So let's get started. Yes, now we're actually editing. One thing that wasn't on my slides is a little trick that I'm going to show you that helps with newborns. And I'm starting with this image because it's such an important trick. So get out your pencils and notepad, because this will help you with any edit of any newborn you'll ever do. So if you didn't know this, babies have very thin skin. They were just born. They just started to exist not too long ago. They're not all thick and jaded like me. And that means their capillaries, their blood is closer to the surface of their skin. So literally the capillaries in their skin, there's less distance between the fatty layers of tissue that we adults have and the capillaries in a baby. And that means babies in general are going to be redder looking or have much more red magenta skin tones than adults. And this can throw off your editing no matter what you use, whether you use Mastin Labs or anything else or hand edit. This difference in capillaries can throw you off. So here's a trick. Like I said, you can use Fuji Original or Portra Original. I'm just going to use, Fuji 400H from the Fuji Color Original pack. So I'm going to apply it to this lovely little baby. I'm going to do my normal steps of editing skin or temperature and tint. So I'm going to warm it up just a little bit. The exposure looks pretty good. If you wanted a lighter and airier look, you could go up just a little bit, and you could balance that out with all soft. But here is that little trick about skin tone. So if I zoom into the baby's arm or down in here, you can see the capillaries under the skin. It's kind of mottled looking. You know, it's like light and then red, light and red all over. Maybe not so much in the highlights. If you just go down to the HSL panel, and this is like totally forbidden. If you've watched all 60 of my videos, we're like never touch HSL. This is the one time it is okay, in my opinion. Go to HSL, put it on color. Whoops. Oh, geez. We closed it. Put it on color, and then go to the red patch. And then you just take the red luminance, and you just start moving it up. And it's almost like Photoshop for baby skin. So watch. This is before, and this is after. Just moving that red luminance slider up. It's kind of amazing. That's the only difference. It will make nearly anything you do work on a baby. Any preset you've bought from any company will look better with this trick because baby skin is so different than adult skin. So there you go. Let me redo that with, and then look at, this is the raw photo. In the raw photo, the baby's skin looks kind of jacked up, and that's because the capillary is close to the skin, or close to the top of the skin. So let's go to Portrait Original. We'll do this edit again with 400. So this is Portrait 400. It's a little bit of a warmer type of film that's really optimized for Caucasian skin. It looks really good, I think. So I'm going to use that. Portrait 400, increase the temperature a little bit. I'm going to look at the towel to see if there's any kind of global tint issue. It's a little bit, you can say it's a little bit green actually. So I'm going to go towards magenta, just a few bits. And let's see, I'm going to also do all soft to kind of mellow out the tones in general. All soft is a tone profile that recovers highlights and shadows. I'll go into that more in another image. So all soft. That brought back the towel, baby's face, everything. And then I'm going to go down to the red patch in the HSL section, and I'm going to crank that luminance up until I have beautiful, amazing baby skin. There you go. That's my little one weird trick to lose belly fat type tip for today. Doctors hate me. Doctors hate me because I know this one weird trick, but that's about it. You go to the red patch and you crank it up, and that will give you much clearer, better skin tones on babies. All right, so let's move on. I picked this photo to start with because this baby really shows that capillary issue the most. You could have other images like this really nice photo where you don't have that problem. You know, there's just not the same kind of capillary situation in this baby's skin. And yet we have a newborn. So yeah, let's just do a normal edit on this wonderful image. This is by Christina Quisenberry from Germany. And let's do Fuji Color Original. So do Fuji 400H Neutral. There's a bit of contrast in this image. If you wanted to mellow it out a little bit, you could use all soft. I kind of actually like the highlights there, so I'm going to leave that. I'm going to do lens correction on. And that basically just stretches out the edges of the image that were kind of distorted by the lens itself. It also removes vignetting. So I'm a huge fan of lens correction, or the lens correction tool. It just flattens out and evens out your image, both the perspective and the lighting. So I recommend doing that. Okay, where was I? This is 400H, lens correction on. I'm going to increase the exposure. And this image could actually go a little bit magenta. The reason I'm saying that is I'm looking at the baby's forehead up here, and it looks a little bit green to me. So I go just a few points to magenta. Oh yeah, there we go. It's amazing how much tint will unlock good skin tones. So if you can practice anything, it's to practice tint. Tint being magenta green. That's where good skin tone is. Okay, there are some capillary issues on this baby. So look at the adult's arm here, the mother's arm. You don't see that kind of mottling, mottle, as you would see in the baby's skin because of the capillary depth. So you can see it again here. I don't know if red is actually going to take it out on this skin tone, but we can try it. No. So red is not quite right for this baby to fix that, and that's because the overall skin tone is not the same as the first baby that I showed you, but the modeling is not that bad. Maybe it lives in orange. Okay, a little bit of a change in the orange patch. The luminance helped with that. There you go. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. And if you want to see before and after, this is with Fuji 400H. Very simple adjustments. Increase exposure. I fiddled with white balance and tint just a tiny bit. Used lens correction, and then I went into the orange color patch under HSL, and I increased it a little bit. However, you don't need to. I still think this baby looks great. It wasn't as an extreme situation as this one, where you've got that real red mottling down here. It's a really hard word to say. Okay, so thank you so much, Christina. Love seeing your work. Yeah, it's always a pleasure. And actually, I'm going to do one more photo that you sent in because I love it so much. This is just a great moment. You have these different points of connection between all three people. You just nailed it. I just wanted to show this photo because it's just really, really nice. So I'll do a quick edit for Fuji 400H from the Fuji Color Original Pack. I'm going to increase the exposure. Adjust the temperature. I'm going to actually drop it just a tiny bit. And I'm going to add this one. Let me see. Yeah, I'm going to add just like a point of magenta. A point being like if magenta was 9 or under the tint slider, if it was 9, I'm going to 12. That's like 3 points. So it's barely anything. And I would just leave it. It looks really good. I could do lens correction on to take away the dark corners. Actually, I think that looks better. And maybe rotate it just a tiny bit. So there you go. That is just a beautiful photo. You can see how nice and clean and natural the final edit is. That is why we love film, real film, because you will get an edit that you won't get sick of later and isn't riding that trend, the trend wave up and down and all around and everywhere that people go with it, with really trying to over stylize photos. It may look cool in the moment, but I guarantee you will eventually get sick of it and the industry will move on and you'll have a portfolio of work that looks dated. So that's why we try to get people into shooting real film with all of our tutorials. You can look on YouTube or on our Facebook page, Master Labs Community, because if you stick with film, it's always going to be timeless. And that's what we try to bring to you with our styles and presets. That's why I started the company, is I wanted to be able to hang my work or hang my hat on a look that I would love for my work. And that's what we did. But anyway, thank you so much, Christina. It's a great photo. All right, moving on. Let's do this cute little yawning baby. Oh, Christina sent this in too. Okay, Christina, this is the last one I'm going to do, and then I'm going to do other people's photos. However, I love your work. So for this, I'm going to crop in just a little bit so we can see the baby more. And let's see, we used Fuji 400H last time. Let's use one of the portrait ones. Let's do portrait 800. I'm going to, so I applied portrait 800. I'm going to increase the exposure. I'm going to bring down the temperature just a little bit. There is a big drop off in light from the left side of the baby to the right side. So to balance that out, I'm going to use highlight soft. So see, when I roll over highlight soft, it brings down just the highlights. It protects just the highlights. So I'm going to do that. And then actually I'm going to go up in exposure again because those highlights are protected. That looks about right. Cute. The image, so again, this baby could benefit from going to the HSL color patch area here, going to the red channel, and then increasing the luminance a little bit. So you can see the baby's like, let me zoom in here. Let me get to prior adjusting it. Okay. So here we are, unadjusted, and I'm going to increase the luminance of the red patch just a little bit. And it just kind of barely cleans up the baby's skin, brings out a little bit of color on the lips and around the hand and around the eyes. And it just kind of is the last like little finishing touch. So there is before and after with Portrait 800. Really cool. Thank you for sending that in. Okay, so let's move on. Let's see here. How about this one? Yeah, this is nice. Okay, so this is by Lisa Marie Savard. Thank you for sending this in. Love having community work. We try to only edit community work, so thank you. Let's see. For this, I am going to use, let's do Portrait 400. It's kind of a nice go-to. I'm going to use lens correction on from the beginning because there is quite a bit of vignetting around the corners, and I just want to do my edit from a place where I can see the entire image a little more corrected. That's better. All right, so here's our starting point. We've got Portrait 400, lens correction. We've got very different skin tones here. So he is very, very pale. He's got a little bit of a magenta undertone. She has got a little bit more, faintly more like olive skinned, olive toned skin. And the baby, the baby was just born. So the baby's got actually maybe like a little bit of jaundice looking. Yeah. Which is just very typical for newborns. So there's a little bit of yellow in the baby's skin. So with that, taking that into consideration, instead of using Portrait 400, so all of the portrait films, they emphasize yellow and orange. Instead of using that, I'm going to use Fujicolor Original. And I'm going to use 400H. Why? Because most Fujicolor films emphasize cyan and red. And those colors are better to emphasize than yellow in this baby's situation. So I'm going to use Fuji 400H. And that already kind of evened out the baby's skin a little bit. I'm going to increase the exposure just a tiny bit. And I'm going to warm it up. Okay, so I'm also going to try this trick with the red patch. Oh yeah. That is the one weird trick that doctors hate me for, is just that little increase in luminance. So you can't see it too much in this photo, but along this baby's cheek, there are just a few veins that are kind of close to the surface. And just by going up on the luminance, we really kind of like clear up that skin issue. There we go. And there you go. Before and after with Fuji 400H. So this is the kind of the light and airy film and style and preset. And it works nicely on this image. So it still looks very natural, but it just looks clean and crisp, and it's got that nice micro contrast that film has that makes the image kind of pop out without looking fake. So, all right. Thank you for sending that in. Let's see, what other cute babies do we have here? All right, so totally different situation. This is by Micah Green, and this baby is by Window. So we have an extreme like lighting situation here, contrast wise. We've got a bright window, it kind of falls off onto the baby, and then it goes to like shadow, like very dark shadow. So I don't know what's going to work best on this. Let's find out. We'll find out together. It feels like a portrait moment, meaning it's got that nice kind of warm, cozy feeling that I would think of for any portrait film. So I'm going to start with Portrait 400. And now I'm going to increase the exposure. Oh man, there is a lot of detail left in this photo. This is great. And I'm going to increase the temperature just a little bit. Oh man, this looks good. This looks so good. Okay, so looking around this image, I'm looking at the mom's skin tone right here on this side and her feet and this wall. The image could go maybe 1 or 2 points towards green with the tint slider. So it's at 10, and I'm going to go down to like 7 or maybe 8. Okay. So 2 points difference. This is before. This is after. It's so minute, you may not even be able to see it at home, but to me, it's just kind of the last little step to getting the right skin tones. I could use lens correction also. Oh yeah, this is just getting better and better. Okay. And I don't think this baby needs the red patch trick. I mean, we can try it. The baby's face is redder than the mom. Again, this all comes back to the capillaries being right near the surface. So we could just go to red and just crank it up just a little bit. I mean, yeah, it doesn't really make any difference on this baby. Just barely. But that looks really good. Here is before and after. If you wanted to, you could try to be real super fancy pants and fix the perspective in this image. So you go to the transform panel, which is like my favorite part of Lightroom. And then you can go through the different auto options and see if one of these fit. So if I hit auto, oh, that's not bad. That straightened out the window, everything else. We do lose a little bit of the mom. So this is before and that is after. I don't know. Which one do you guys like better? Do you like before the perspective correction or after? Let me know in the comments. So this is before, or this is after, and this is before. I'm a big fan of making the image like really like corrected perspective wise, but you do get a different feeling in this image depending on whether it's corrected or not. I feel like in this situation, you're like kind of looking down onto them a little bit more, like you're looking over her shoulder, and whoops. And in this situation, it feels like you're looking a little more directly from the side. So, I mean, small differences, but I think about this stuff. They like after. Okay, so nearly everybody is saying after. Okay, I'm right there with you. I think perspective correction is really, really an amazing tool, and you should use it when you can. Okay, let's move on. Oh, this is by Micah Green as well. Okay, I love this image just because the baby looks so completely surprised. So cute. It's just awesome. Yes, I think the baby is maybe more of a fierce guardian than their dog as far as like protecting the family unit. But yeah, super cute baby. Love the hair sticking straight up like a little hedgehog. Let's do another portrait edit with this. There's Portrait 400. I'm going to do an exposure bump. Lens correction on. And there is just like no detail left in her hair. So I'm going to play around with Shadow Soft and see if I can fix that. Yeah, that's perfect. All right, so Shadow Soft just brings up a little bit of shadow detail, kind of just evened out the contrast in this image. Perfect, great. The dog is looking a little bit green, so I'm going to go up in magenta just a few points, like to there. This is a tough one. It's like either the dog is just right or the people look a little bit magenta. So, you know what? If I ever have to choose between a dog and people looking exactly right, I'm going to pick somewhere right in the middle. So I'm going to set tint to 0, and we go up a little bit more in temperature. Yeah, see, right about there looks good. Okay, so that would be, pretty much a normal edit right there, before and after. However, if I zoom in on this little baby, I can see, again, we've got a little bit of that capillary issue on the baby's cheek. Remember, this baby was like just born, like just came home from the hospital. So, skin and all of that is going to be a little bit more agitated and looking, a little bit redder because of all these things. Again, going to the red patch and cranking up the luminance really kind of fixes that. Fixes, hides, I don't know, whatever word you want to use. It's a small adjustment, but you can just see the baby. Look, watch the baby's face. Okay, so we're gonna leave luminance cranked up, about 25% more, and there you go. There's your edit. Looks really good. Okay, we have a question. All right, so Gabriel Ivanchenko asks, "Hi Kirk, when you edit with these presets, do you ever use the gradient filter?" That's a good question. I don't use it because of these presets. However, I do use like the neutral density gradient filter when I need it. Whether I'm using Mastin Labs or anything else, I use it when I need it. So let me find an example for you. Maybe this one. Yes. Okay. All right. Thank you for asking that question, because I have an example. So I'm not going to use a gradient filter because of Mastin Labs. I'm going to use it in addition to Mastin Labs because this photo is going to need it, and I'll show you why. We've got quite a big difference in light here because we have a single light source coming in from the right from the window, and we have no reflector on the left. So what we can do to kind of even this out a little bit is add a neutral density filter from the right. So it's this rectangle, and I just set it to some negative exposure amount so that I can see it. There we go. So the effect is exposure. I'm going to set it to some negative amount, and now I'm going to just pull it from the side and determine where it kind of evens out that exposure. If you are unfamiliar with this tool, the way it works is the wider you make this box, the gentler it will go from affecting the photo to not, like from going from clear to actually decreasing the exposure. So a really small band like this would be just a really abrupt change. So it just goes really quickly. You can actually see it if I pause over it. You can see the actual mask, and you can see where it transitions from red to clear is really, really small. If I pull on the side of it like that, the transition is really gradual. Do you see what I'm saying? So Ivan probably already uses this tool, knows what I mean, but if you haven't used it, it's an amazing tool, and that's how it works. So I'm going to set this to some kind of middle amount, rotate it to match the angle of the light. That's really important. And then I'm going to bring it in until I feel I've got a really nice transition from the window across the couple. And then I'm going to turn it off, okay? If I wanted to, I could go back to it and play with the amount that I bring it down. So this is getting to be too much. Maybe actually move it like there. And you can play with this, and instead of using exposure, that's kind of the real simple way. I could just bring down whites, which is not a bad way to go either. I'm just affecting kind of the white tones. And just by using that gradient filter, I've evened out the contrast in this photo. Now, I haven't even started using Mastin Labs at all yet. This is just a gradient filter. So from there, I would use oh, let's just use Portrait 400. No, let's use Fujicolor Original. Okay, 400H. There's a lot of contrast in this photo. It's from the direction of the light, but we can work on that. So I applied 400H, increase the exposure, increase the temperature. I can even out this exposure or this contrast difference by using all soft, just like that. And then kind of keep coming up on exposure until I feel it looks right. This was shot at f2.8, so there may be some lens correction that could help. Yeah, there we go. All right, so I'm slowly, as you can see, I'm slowly massaging this image to be kind of a more controlled contrast across the frame and a little bit more light and airy. It's not exactly light and airy, it's just nice and real looking. So there is your before and after. And if I was to turn off this neutral density gradient filter, here's the difference. So here is, wow, come on. Here is with the filter. Whoops. Here's with the filter. Here's without. So it's kind of interesting to see if you use a neutral density radial. Oh gosh, if you use that filter I just used at a very minimal amount, it's just perfect to even that out. So that's how I would leave it. Yeah, this photo looks great. Here is before and after, and I hope that answered your question. All right, so we have a request for an edit with the Fujicolor, or no, not the Fujicolor, sorry, the Adventure Everyday pack. Do we have it on a particular image? Any image. Or Fuji pushed. Okay. All right, let's go to another new photo. Okay, so it's Christina Quisenberry again, but I love it. So we will do an Adventure Everyday edit on this image. So I'm not using either Portrait Original or Fuji Original. I'm adventuring outside of that and using something from our Adventure Everyday pack. So if you didn't know this, Ektar is super colorful. It is the most colorful film and style and preset. We can try it on this, but I don't know what's going to happen. Okay, so yeah, it's very colorful. I'll do this and then a gold edit and show you the difference. So Ektar 100, and this is why it's important that you use the right preset for the right job, because they're very different. And you can't make everything look like everything. You can't make Fuji 400H look like Ektar, look like Portra. They're all totally formulated, completely different. So it's important where you start. But with Ektar, maybe we can use it. So I applied Ektar. I'm going to decrease the temperature to get that under control. It's looking all right. It just looks really punchy, which is what Ektar is. It's like essentially a slide film. I can mellow this out by using all soft. And we can also do lens correction on. So this is a Ektar newborn baby photo. And the swaddling reminds me of that really famous Steve McCurry photo of the Afghan girl against the blue background. We've got that really, really deep colors. It's not bad. I mean, it looks really cool. It's very punchy, but it just depends on what you like for your newborn photos. Let's try gold 200 and take it down about 10 notches. So here's gold 200. I'm going to add a little bit of magenta. And I'm going to warm it up just a tiny bit. So there is a gold 200 edit. Gold 200 is a beautiful, consumer grade film that if you're my age, if you're 40, I'm 42, if you're around this age, this is what your parents shot your baby photos on, probably, if you lived in North America, was on Gold 200. And it's got a really nice nostalgic feel. It's got warm skin tones, medium contrast, and the shadows are kind of a gold green. And I love it. So there are 2 edits from the Adventure Everyday Pack. So yeah, it can work on newborns. Depends on what you want. You're not going to get that like light and bright, super bright edit that you would get in a situation like this using the Everyday Pack. Like if you wanted a Fuji, is this in focus? It's not in focus. Okay, so let me use a different one here. Black and white. It still looks really cute. If you want that real light and bright lifestyle shot, in a white room, like the baby's in a white crib in a white room with white rugs and white walls and white everything, which is really cool. I don't know how you keep it clean with a baby. I have no idea. It looks really cool. Then the Adventure Everyday Pack is probably not going to cut it for you, and you're going to want to use Fujicolor Original or Fuji Pushed. It's built for that situation. So let me show you. So 400H, I'm going to crop just the edge of the bed out there. Yeah, there you go. Fuji 400H, all soft. And we could do the little red trick. Yeah, just a tiny bit. There you have it. There's your like really light, bright, all white room kind of edit, and it looks good with Fujicolor Original. Not so much with Fujicolor Everyday, where you're going to get an edit, or not Fujicolor Everyday, Adventure Everyday Original Pack, where you get this kind of edit. Let's see here. Let me do a few more, and we will wrap it up. If you have any questions as I'm going, please let us know in the comments. This is your shot to do this, because as soon as I'm done, this video will live on, but you won't be able to answer questions or ask questions. I won't be able to answer them in real time. So ask them now. There's no reason to hold back. So this is by Kelly Klabaugh. Beautiful photo. Looks like this baby is like totally asleep. This baby's got a lot of hair, which is awesome. That wasn't the case for me exactly. But we'll see how this looks. Let's do something with the Fujicolor Everyday Pack. That was the other request. So the Fujicolor Everyday Pack is really versatile. I mean, it has something for everybody. There's Fujicolor C200, which is kind of warm and mellow. There's Superior 400, which is like Ektar's more chilled out cousin, not as saturated. And then there's Acros 100, which is just like amazing, mind-blowing, black and white. It's fantastic. In fact, I'm going to start with Acros. Boom. Done. It's so nice. It's so nice. I don't even want to mess with it. That's how nice Acros is. Like, if you don't care about black and white, you could start really caring about black and white, like with Acros, I think. Ask anyone in the group. Go in the Master Labs community right now and just be like, do you like Acros? Just do a poll. It'll be like 50,000 yes, by people who've probably never even used black and white before. It's so nice. Okay, I'm going to stop tooting the Acros horn. So that's Acros. Love it. It's just amazing. Hold on a second. Watch this. Acros. Boom. Amazing. Oh yeah? You're yawning? How about Acros? Boom. Look at that. I Acrosed you. And it's amazing. It's so good. Okay. Enough silliness. Look at that. You could just do an entire Acros like baby album, and you would just kill it with your audience. Okay, we have a question before I go crazier. Okay, Micah Green says, I'm having the hardest time deciding between Portra and Fuji. Could you do a couple with both so we can see a side-by-side comparison of edits with each? So Portra and Fuji, I'm assuming original, probably. I'll do original so you can kind of see the difference. Okay, should I do the Fujicolor Everyday thing first with this and then do that at the end? Yeah? Okay. All right, so Micah, I will get to that in 1 second. I just wanted to show Superia and Fujicolor C200 on this. So I'm going to reset this. All right, so Kelly, here is C200. Looks great. Looks really good. Love it. I mean, it could be cooled down, maybe just a point. Maybe the exposure dropped a point. But that is the beauty of Fujicolor C200. I love this pack. I love it. The Fujicolor Everyday pack, Everyday Original pack is our latest one. It is really good. It's personally pretty much all I use. Okay, here is Superia 400. You can see the reds and the oranges kind of building up in that one. I really like that one too. And they both look great. So if you want baby photos or newborn photos with a little more punch, Fujicolor Everyday is a great choice. It's not as crazy wild as, let me get back to Ektar on this one. Yeah, so there's Ektar. I mean, this is like screaming down the road on a Harley color, right? It's just like a lot of color. And then here's Superia 400, which is much more mellow. Okay, so to Micah's question, she wanted to see, or he or she, it was, yeah, a person wanted to see the difference between Fuji 400H, I'm assuming, and Portra 400. So those kind of represent both of those packs. I'll do it side by side so you can see the difference. Oh, Portra 160? Okay, so the difference between Portra 160 and Fuji 400H. Yes. Okay, here we go. All right, let's do it. Let's make this a moody baby. Sorry, I just say that. Portra 160 is like the classic, like moody Portland vibe film. So here's Portra 160. I'm going to do highlight soft just to kind of bring down, I mean, maybe all soft. Let's see. Yeah, let's do all soft. Okay, so there's all soft. Bring up the exposure just a tiny bit. I'll warm it up a little. I'm going to copy this. And now I'm going to do a Fujicolor original edit. There's Fuji 400H. I'm going to do all soft again. Warm it up just a tiny bit. I'm going to drop tint towards green just like a couple points, 2 points. Let me see. Right about there. And now if this was a true Fuji 400H edit, that film likes to live more in the light and airy land, so I would increase the exposure. That's where you really start to unpack that film and make it look how it should look. If ask any film shooter, you shoot Fuji 400H overexposed. That's just how it is. Portra 160, most of the time people shoot it underexposed. It's a moodier look. So I'm going to edit true to the look of each film. There we go. Okay, so I hope this helps you. On the left, we have Fuji 400H from the Fuji original pack. It's edited a little bit lighter because that is how that film is supposed to look. And then we've got Portra 160 on the right, and it's got a little bit more of a moodier, darker, brownish look. A little more desaturated. You can see it in the lips, especially. The blues stay constant, but the other colors get a little more desaturated. That is the look of Portra 160, and that is the main difference. A little bit in just the overall vibe of it, the dark and moodiness of Portra 160, and then Fuji 400H is supposed to be a little bit lighter and brighter. So I hope that is helpful. Do you have any more questions? Okay. All right. So let's wrap this up. I just love the black and white ones. They're so good. You know what? I'm just gonna go nuts and just do some acro stuff. I just want to show you. Is that bad? Is it bad? It's not bad, is it? It's not bad. Okay. This is how good Acros is. Watch this. Amaze. Perfect. It's just so damn good. Let's go to this one here. Acros, bam, love it. It's just so good. Acros. Oh, I'm gonna drop the exposure just a little bit. Look at that. Just look at that. Just frame that. Frame it and call it art and call it a day. It's so good. Let me make a little Acros gallery just because we're feeling it. We're feeling the Acros fire. Oh wait. What is the compare all the things I've selected? N. That's right. Okay. Oh man. Oh, bam. Look at that. Oh, let's add. Oh, can't forget you, baby. All right. There we go. Look at that. So nice. I didn't know that this show would end up being this Acros love fest, but it is really, really, really such an amazing film. Okay, so to wrap things up, remember that red trick. Go to the red patch. If you have any kind of funky, like newborn skin issues, it's because of the capillary distance in the skin. They're just redder, more magenta skin, like on babies, especially Caucasian babies. They just have that. So cranking up the luminance on the red patch, that takes that away. In general, Fuji Original Pack and the Portra Original Pack offer the best choices for most modern newborn photography. However, as you saw in this video, you could use presets or styles from the Adventure Everyday Pack. Yeah, if you're adventurous, it's a little harder to tame, but certainly from the Fuji Color Everyday Pack, those were some really beautiful choices, and it includes Acros, which is just amazing. If you enjoyed this, we've got many more videos. We've got like 50, 60 videos now, editing videos that you can watch. We cover every kind of topic you can imagine. And there's a lot of good info in there, whether or not you use presets or styles. So check it out. Go to our YouTube channel. Be sure to like and subscribe. Also, all of these videos are saved on our Facebook page. You can watch them again. And most importantly, if you're not part of our Master Labs community, you got to get in there and join. That's where all the good stuff is happening. Just an amazing community, very supportive. If you want to see what Master Labs looks like on your work, just drop in an image using a Dropbox link, and someone here or someone in the community or like 15 people will edit it and show you what's possible with your photo using Mastin Labs. So until next time, have a great day and happy editing.